Hey, well, welcome everybody to the meeting of the Sobrante Municipal Advisory Council's Cleanup and Beautification Subcommittee. We have me and Sue, also members of MAC, that are here to run this meeting here. So we have the agenda, and the first step on. Do I need to do anything, any fancy meeting stuff? Okay. Well, I just wanted to give a quick overview of our efforts that we've had, especially with the Green Team 94803. Which I'm part of, and that's kind of the entity that does stuff for this subcommittee. Us and we work often in partnership with spawners, as well as we have a representative here from that. So with you. So let's just say first off, we still have our third Saturday cleanups. Every third Saturday, we meet at the library here at 10 o'clock in the morning. We have equipment and locations for people to go out into, so you can borrow your equipment, and then
what's the next date for the third Saturday?
The next date is
That's gonna be next for the meeting.
No, I think it's when is it? It's I think it's the 18th. Yeah, next cleanup is November 18th. So that's the week before. Is that the weekend before?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll be nice and clean for Thanksgiving. So hope you can join us, because we could use all the help we can get, because it's an ongoing problem here in El Sobrante and actually everywhere. But we're really doing our best. We've got a great team of people, very friendly and very dedicated and committed to trying to keep our area clean and beautiful. We recently had a dumpster day. How was that?
It was good. From the feedback that I got from the community members, it wasn't as attended as it has been in the past. Mainly my fault for getting the word out 2 days before the event. So, but I spoke with the MAC chair, just when the next one comes around, definitely to give about a month's notice. So we're planning a tentative date in December. I still need to make sure that we still have our allotment. So tentative pin in the calendar for December.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can you please make sure that date doesn't make it the third Saturday of the month?
I can
That's what happened last time.
request that, but
Yeah, we really actually like to help, and we weren't available, so
okay.
if we always do the third Saturday of the month, so if you could schedule around that, we really appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, really good.
And don't have it on Christmas Day.
We had a great time at the El Sobrante stroll. We represented our team there. We were in the parade and had a nice booth, and gave out a lot of postcards and information about our coastal cleanup day, which was the following weekend on September 23rd. And we had about 60 people, I guess, 60 volunteers from the community. Lots of kids this time, which was really nice to see that people are bringing their kids and getting them started early with the consciousness about not littering and being responsible with your trash. So we were excited about that. We had a great band and Stone Trap. And we had excellent food by the Punjabi Kitchen and Mountain Mike's and probably Pizza with a Twist and Starbucks and Neighbors Donuts and the Expert Tires and Wheels they donated lots of pizza too from Little Caesars, so everybody was fed. So we had fun, we made a difference. We partnered again with Spawners and SOS Richmond. Richmond concentrated a lot on their encampments, which is always important for them to pick up the trash there and be mindful of the areas around them as well. And Spawners did a nice job on a couple of the creeks in the area, so we're always happy with that. But it's an ongoing issue, and we sponsored 2 major cleanups aside from our third Saturday cleanups, and then the next major cleanup will be on 4/20, 2024. I believe that's Thursday. Yeah.
How do you arrange that?
I didn't arrange it, but it's a good way of raising consciousness on many levels. So anyway, we're looking forward to that. So hope you can join us for all these things, and if you need to be in touch with us, always check out Keep El Sobrante Beautiful.info, which is our website that announces all kinds of things and has lots of great information and places you can ask for. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I would just point out that I think we won an award at the stroll this year.
Did we?
I thought you said that we did. Somebody said.
Somebody said we did. I don't know
Oh,
that.
I haven't checked this
They
one.
thought we had we had a lot of spirit.
We were informed by somebody that we got a spirit award, but I would give some of that to Beth.
Well, that was last year.
Litter bug.
Yes, we did have a litter bug, and that was Beth
We
on
talked about that
the
yesterday.
call here on the Zoom, and she was an incredible addition to the spirit there. Somebody said we were great and very chaotic. A good description when I look at the videos. But we had fun, and we always had fun. So, you know what? I think I have the wrong. No, this was that was an old thing there. Okay, so let's see what else we have.
Nikki, is this a good time to talk about WhatsApp too, or is that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, just so that people know, we've got with the green team, which includes both the MAC members on it, we have threads on WhatsApp. And it's much preferable to just using texting threads because you can keep track of them. They're organized by topic, and you can turn off and on or join in or opt out of any of the threads at any time if you're getting too much stuff coming through here. But it gives us a really good opportunity to communicate and network. And so anybody who's on WhatsApp, we will put you into the central group, which is also, Green Team Non-403. And then from that, you join various other threads, depending on what the events are. And so, for example, we have one that's called events or special events, and that was originally for the day of the event. So the people who only want to be getting text that they have to have on the day of the event, like SOS, Richmond, for example, might do that. They don't have to be on the Ramon posting that he just picked up some trash somewhere, or I was talking about when is the next Caltrans adopt the road and things like that. So we have and one of the threads on this is the San Pablo and road planners. And so when Dorcas talks, then you'll see that this is how we were able to get people to get on board with Dorcas in order to do some of the stuff that we did, was because we were the WhatsApp. And one last thing I would say about WhatsApp is that if you have a normal text thread and you put little emojis above them or something like that, it'll like rewrite the message and go through all that stuff. With WhatsApp, you just like put a little emoji next to the message, and it's not gonna like create a whole other chain of messages and stuff. That so often happens on the text thread. But the most important thing is that it's just one unified group, and then within that group, you can pick whatever topic and set up your own level of involvement.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Can you hear us okay on the Zoom? Just curious. Just want to make sure you can hear us okay. Monica, if you could hear us, oh, good. Amber, good. Okay. Good. So, Anybody have anything to add for the overview of our efforts? We've got a lot of green team members here. Yep, okay, so let's go on to number 2, our downtown planter boxes project.
Well, they're not boxes.
Yeah, they're not boxes, I didn't know how to call them, what do you call them?
Planters.
I call them giant pots. Yeah, and when I started,
Oh, this is Dorcas, though.
Yeah.
Why don't you introduce
just everybody, and when I first started doing it, people would say, "What pots?" You know, because they were just so invisible. So around 2015, and then, you know, when a pot like this is invisible, it's
At one point, Dorcas, this was with the Chamber of Commerce, or did you?
So I started off with Citizens for a Greener El Sobrante. I was looking for a retirement give back project, you know, and I love to garden. And I retired from teaching art, so I have an eye for design, and so that was a project, and I mostly like to work by myself, so it was a good project for me. So I started doing that, and in the course of walking around, that was the group that actually got the trees planted downtown too. So those are Japanese, those are Asian elms, Chinese elms, I guess they call them, that are noted for their beautiful bark. And right now, if anybody of you have any say with the county, they badly need to be pruned. You know, they need to have their lower limbs revealed gracefully, the way that they're supposed to look.
Okay.
Yeah, it is something that we're aware of, and I have reached out to Public Works about getting the team out there, so I'm just waiting for an update. It's on the radar.
They're really overdue, and it's caused problems with breakage and stuff because there's too much sail, and that's quite a wind tunnel, out there, so that's just going around looking at the plots too, but I couldn't do much about that except support her, but about the pots. So they were originally evidently installed in around 2015 as a joint project with the Chamber of Commerce and the county and the local business. And so there was a deal where the local business, the county and the chamber would kind of subsidize the pot, and they're big expensive pots. And the local business would pay a fee and also agree to water them, okay? And that's where, and so they put the pots in, they put the same 3 plants, a big phormium, some daylilies, which are I come to respect as being incredibly tough, and what is it, fertile myrtle, a vinca. So those same 3 plants in all of the planters, whether they were in the sun, or the shade, or the wind, or whatever. And so that, the kind of inappropriate plant usage, and they weren't very, they were pretty tough, but they weren't very pretty or very engaging. And so to me, that's kind of what happened with the original pots is that people weren't engaged with the pot. Also, the watering system, they went with some sort of sophisticated, put a hose in a thing and fill it up down below in the pot watering system that was much too complex to be just handed out to people. You needed a special little screwdriver to open the thing, and then you had to fill it up with water, and then you had to put it back on, make sure it was airtight, and then you had to not lose the little thing. And so that was one thing that we ran into when we first started working on these, is how to make sure they drain, how do you water them. So we're basically watering from the top, and in some cases they wouldn't drain, and so we had to dig them out down to the bottom, drill some holes in the bottom of the liner, put all the dirt back in, put the plants back in. So, but after all that, then you get to plant them and you get to watch them grow up and bloom. And probably so my goal is to have the planters be different, and to reflect the character of the place, and so what I would do for Clancy's down there that I just did would be different from what I would do for the beauty parlor, the beauty shop that's right next door that has some very delicate signing. And still have them relate to each other. And and then the JD liquors, we put in a big bunch of succulents, and I have an ivy geranium that is so tough, I think it would just take over El Sobrante if you turned it loose. And it's a nice big bright red. So that was kind of I just kind of went around and made proposals and got some money from some of the people and didn't get money from some of the others. And so the picture on the front here is actually the back of my truck all loaded up to go off and plant. Okay, so there it is, double layer, and the top, of course, is a picture of what the pots looked like beforehand, or even worse. And so on the second page there, if you have, I didn't hand out all the copies for everybody. But the Guardian pots, the big pots in front of the Guardian were designed to be like handlooms, flowers for these beautiful graphics they had for their clients. And the Elks there had 2 pots, and I did their pots in their signature colors of red, white, and blue. So they got a red geranium with some white foliage and some blue stuff. So, the nice thing is the fun thing is to actually go out and make such a difference in this pot, where once it was just like an empty thing that people use as a trash can, basically, if there's nothing else in there. At least if it's got a pot full of geraniums, they can stick their trash in and you don't see it, That's true. So that's been very rewarding, and at the same time it has taken up a certain amount of space. I forgot to bring my notebook that I have that just has a page for every set of planters and all the notes over the years that I've taken since I've been doing this since 2018. And I realize it really has been quite a big job, and the truth is it's only about half done. So there are impediments to going ahead with further plantings, and the main one is water on the street. When I was at the Guardians, and there was a hose connector right there, and I have a water faucet wrench and a 50-foot hose, and I would just be able to water them. Now, when I realized that the first thing that I look for when I'm looking at a different site, something that needs to be done, is where's the water and who's going to water it, because I finally just can't do anymore. To make them engaging, to make them engage the person, the building that's there that reflects it, and to make it easy for them to take care of it. And so that's kind of where it stumped me, especially with Mechanics Bank. They have 3 giant, beautiful pots out there that are just empty, and they could have a wonderful big tall manzanita and some nice native salvias. And the other thing in terms of maintenance is, we always pick tough plants. That is a tough place to live for a plant out there on that road. It is windy and it is dirty, and so they do need to get rinsed off once in a while. Excuse me. And so every once in a while they do get bugs too. I am amazed that there still are little spiders that make it out there and help eat the aphids, and they're on the planters at Oliver's Hardware. They had there was an infestation of aphids, and I was getting ready to just spray them off really hard, and I went out and looked, and it was covered with ladybug larvae. So even there, on those native salvias, even there on that hard windy road, nature is hanging in there. So there's that. there's that design situation where you need to consider that it's not blocking their signing, that it's, you know, that it's not gonna pull people that are coming in the door. Stuff like that. If there are costs for soil, you know, or most of the pots have been, has the soil has used up its organic stuff and it's reseeded quite a lot. Sometimes as much as this much below the surface. So that's the situation.
Are these things that you need, that you'd like help with?
Well, basically, what I want to do is to turn, I'm ready to retire, basically. I'm ready to retire. I feel like I can still be around to consult. So, but I just don't have the time and the energy anymore. And I had some big homeowner projects coming up, and I had 2 little grandsons that I didn't have 5 years ago. And so I just am running out of time and energy for doing this. So I've tried to organize things to where the green team can hopefully leap into the region and I can coach them through a couple ones to get you going. And I have an idea for some ones that would be a good one to practice on. There's that car place over there on Dam Road by the brake and wheel brake. Allergy.
How many are there? How many pots are there?
There are 30 pots. There used to be 32 and 2 little ones disappeared. And probably the big thing that happened recently with the pots is that 2 of the sets of pots got moved. I mean, that was a huge thing. The guy that bought the garden building didn't want the pots. Was gonna get rid of the pots, and so Marie and Judy from the chamber stepped in and found a place down there by Clancy's to put the 4 pots, and the owner of the Guardian showed up with a truck and a bunch of big guys and moved the pots down there. And so before that, I had cleaned them up a little bit before the stroll, but then right after the stroll, the Wednesday after the stroll, I went down there and took them apart again. So pruned everything off, you know, and dug the plants out and left them empty dirt. They moved them. Now we're redoing the pots with a different set of plants because the situation's different. You know, they're across the street, they're in the shade, or, you know, they can't be in front of the window.
So how many, so there's 30 pots now. How many do they all have? They don't all have stuff.
So here on this handout, there is a list of all the locations. And I just spent my afternoon kind of upgrading this, and it's got some gaps in it. But all the whole list of pots of locations around town, and which ones are done, which ones have the owners actually watering. JD Litter, she loves her pots. She's taking care of that one. The bartender at Clancy's, like the idea so much, she brought down stuff out of her own garden.
Yeah.
To put in, you know, it was that's something I've been praying for this whole time.
Now there's a pot dealer on the corner, isn't there?
Okay.
If water's a problem, is it better to use plant more with succulent?
Sure, you know, and everything's low water.
I
you know.
have a huge collection of succulents and I trade succulents with people all the time.
No, I'm always looking for, I just picked up some free ones that somebody was giving away for the last thing, and I, you know, redo them a little bit and put them back in. But even those died, you know, especially when you're planting them, okay, when you're getting them established, they're not gonna take no water.
Right, when they're getting established.
Yeah,
And
there's
they're-
still gonna be something,
Yeah,
and,
and there are some that would take over.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Um,
And so yes, you do have to referee.
Take a
It's
look at
interesting, sometimes that you think wouldn't, you know, might not like it in the pot, they end up loving it and wanna, you know, just
Vice versa.
take over the whole thing, and other things Yeah.
So you said you have about half of them that are designed and so forth. So now, as far as things that we could do, I mean, I would like to see us speed up the process of getting these plans to these planners. It sounds like one of the problems could be if we need to move them. It's gonna be really hard to possibly do that, but it'd be good to have them move positions so they're close to water, right? I mean, is that part of the issue that they're really not
Boy,
in the best places?
you know, I have. Great, you know, I would have never thought that those big planters could have been moved. And so the two sets of planters that got moved were the ones in front of the garden, you know, and I saw those moved and helped locate them. But the other ones that got moved were from JV Liquor. So there were pots kind of at the empty, in the one parking lot of the rental building right down there by the car place. And she kind of just asked them if they didn't want them anymore, but she had, I don't know how she did it, she had people that moved them in the middle of the night, you know, down Santana Dam Road to the JD Liquor. And then Marie had considerations of that, there was whether or not she could keep them and blah, 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 and then I helped locate them and I helped her plant them, but she told me she spent about $1,000 you know,
Yeah.
and if we had had to pay for the guy moving them from the Guardian, that would have been, so that's the consideration, and they are mostly huge, you know, those pots, those big pots weigh, with dirt in them, weigh over 1,500 pounds, I think, I mean. There were like some big guys and they were working it.
Is there one at the artistry? Is there a planter in front of there?
We have a couple of like small ones.
That you put there?
They're not the municipal planters, but I have plants if you need them.
Yeah. We're interested.
So as far as, you know, that's the thing, you know, where do you get the water? As far as the bank goes, the 3 big pots there. I talked to the previous 2 managers of the bank, and Marie from the chamber has talked to the current manager. And they all said, oh yeah, we'd love to, and then they asked the upper management, and upper management says, oh, we don't want to do that, you know.
So another way to think about it might be that the big water barrels that could go on the back of a pickup truck and see if we can find a member
Yeah.
who has something where that could be set
I
up.
have looked at, they do sell kind of convenient water containers with a hose and a,
Right,
you know,
right.
not,
Yeah, the
not
box
huge.
ones even,
Yeah, that would fit in a pickup truck, but,
that have to be done like once every couple weeks in the winter, or once a week in the summer.
it depends, you know, that's the other consideration about having one person doing it is they really kind of need to be watered as needed. You know, you stick your finger in it and it's wet, if it stands down below, then they don't need it. And it depends totally on how much protection from the wind, if they're getting exposed to the rain fully, you know, if they're getting full sun all day, so they're drying out. So a matter of just going around and saying this much is kind of. That's why, you
So
know,
how much buy-in is from the businesses that have them in front of them? Are most of them kind of keeping an eye on them or not?
no,
They're not.
no, they're not engaged, you know. Another consideration is, you know, who waters them? If you're in business clothes, you know, you haul buckets of water around, there's just kind of, you know, there's nuances to how this thing plays out, and the thing would be to make it as easy as possible, give them something they like and make it easy for them to take care of and encourage them. You know, I had to help Scott at the hardware store, Oliver's, with the bugs a few times, and I just pruned them like a couple days ago, and so.
So, yeah, it'd be nice to be able to move forward and getting more of them planted and getting some of our volunteers out there to help do the watering stuff. Is this something we should take to the WhatsApp thread? Just kind of go with that from now, or do that kind of a plan of some sort?
I wonder if it might be something that could be one of the jobs at least a little bit of it help with the third Saturdays. Obviously, it needs more than just once a month. But that could be one of
check
the,
on-
you know,
check in.
checking on them and bringing back a kind of. Yeah. And maybe people could water, you know, to water a few, or maybe we could,
That's right.
But
I
please
could
bring
see,
up
I
water
could see
and hydrate.
people adopting a couple,
yeah,
you know,
Like these are my
adopting
two.
one site. Where somebody from the group would go around and check on them and just, and check in with the person, give them some support. You know.
and maybe we provide some of those cheap plastic watering cans that people can fill up in their sink and take to their.
Or your empty vinegar bottles, like I am.
Right.
You see, I was driving around with 6 vinegar bottles in the back of my truck, full of water, to get the things that didn't have.
But anyway, that would be something that we could consider adding to our third Saturday, and maybe what we could do is to give people, you know, please would you do this one or this one, and here's something for the middle of the month. It's not ideal though, we really kind of want people to take them on and be proud of them.
Who do we have that wants to be a part of this project?
Well, we had, Monica, Beth, me.
I definitely.
Yeah.
But in the case of something like the bank where they don't want to participate, but they're not gonna move their
No.
to some other location,
No,
then do they just stay empty forever because
or,
we don't
you
have
know,
permission?
or,
We adopt them is what she's suggesting, that we actually.
But we have to go the way of watering this really.
Are those right in front of the building, or are they more out on the street?
they're out on the street,
Oh, okay.
you know,
Yeah.
They don't belong to the bank per se.
Right.
they
So
don't
we
care
could-
about.
It's
So
not,
we could plant something there,
Yeah,
they wouldn't care, but they're not willing to water or take care of it.
yeah, they don't have any money for maintenance.
okay.
Okay, but
So, but-
if we just.
But they have to coordinate that with the chamber, I would talk to Marie at the chamber. Before making any move on those pots, you know, just so that the chamber knows.
I used to be a stealth gardener. I used to sprinkle wildflower seeds and seeds of the median strips on the line of hot waves and stuff.
Yes, but there's a limit to what you can get away with. Then pots, I think.
Let's do this legally, yeah.
So do we need another little get together for people who are going to, you already kind of did one walk through the area, but I don't know that how many people were going.
No, we just did,
Yeah, we did.
so I had a nice spot, bunch of volunteers go up and have to water the plants in front of,
Okay,
in front of it.
It seems to me like what we might want to do is go on the WhatsApp, and talk about the kind of locations issue first, because that determines about what we need to think about in terms of watering and other stuff like that. And then we'll work with Dorcas in terms of selecting the ones we can get going the soonest, because I think we should try to get them planted as soon as possible personally.
Oh, I would love it, man.
And I don't know if you like to do all the design, or if you share design with other
I
people,
can,
or.
you know, if somebody's doing it and they have an idea for something they think would be appropriate.
okay.
And then I also think we should see what the artistry has, maybe have some thoughts on this too, because we're talking about plans as part of your place, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to secure the idea on that, but I know I'm interested in it. But we're looking what we're putting in of course. I think for sure.
Does anybody on the Zoom have anything you want to say about this, or are you joining in on?
Anne Marie said we should see what other cities do with their planters.
Well, I think these planters were actually designed for somebody to go around with a water truck
Mhm.
and hit them all, you know, they had reservoirs in the pots. They had a special little tool that needed a hose to fill them up, and that would be where those kind of watering systems
But
would
that
work.
decreases the number of times you need to water them.
You know, so really, once you get them to a level of
That's right.
dampness, then they can kind of maintain themselves, especially in the winter time, if there's a pot that's exposed to the rain and has some really low water natives or succulents in it, you don't have to do anything, you know, except keep an eye on it. But if that same pot is in full sun in the summertime, you might have to give it like 5 minutes of water once a week.
Right.
I'm trying to wiggle it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's try to wrap this one up and continue on WhatsApp, and if you're not a part of that group, you know, like you can arrange this time when you go down, maybe take a look at what's.
I would be happy to give a tour, you know, it really.
Yeah, that would be good to have a tour and see what's there, just take a walk down, and just
I
scope
mean,
it out,
pictures
check
are
it
one
out,
thing,
and
but
see
you know,
what's
I'm
there.
talking about being out there on that street
Okay.
with the cars going, why would you do something?
All right, well, we'll figure out a time and
Yeah.
do that and go see what's there and what we wanna do,
But thanks for being here tonight,
Yeah,
and so we'll
thank
probably
you.
want to update on this in another few months or something like this down the road, just see.
Anytime, you know, I'm not disappearing, but I just.
Okay.
need to get
you need
stuff
help
out,
and
yeah.
you need other people to take the lead on it. See if you wanna retire, I respect them. So, okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And let's, I'm sure we really need to get the businesses to, you know, pay attention. I mean, they have a stake in this. So.
It's hard, you know, what if they're not gardeners? What if they don't care
Well,
about
there
it?
is that. Right,
That
okay.
comes to time back with the chamber, we need to be in that Marie, so this lot in the
Okay.
path for.
All right,
Emery has her hand up.
okay, Anne Marie, yes.
Hey, I, you know, at Spirit Rock, we had a similar issue of the going around and watering all these planter inserts, where it's a reservoir at the bottom part of this plastic insert, and then it self waters the plants. So you're only going around maybe at a minimum once a month just to make sure the reservoir still has its water. And it's extremely low maintenance. I think they're like around $30 or so per a planter. As an option, if we can't find consistent watering, I could find out what the brand name is that we use at Spirit Rock, but it's the same size planters that are on El Sobrante. So just a thought.
So I don't know what kind of, is there any budget left or anything?
So the chamber, last I talked to them, said they had set aside $200 to help with the planners, but I don't think they're ready to,
Okay.
But that's a relatively trivial amount of money, $30 per plant, I mean, I could donate something to that myself, so.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who donate plants and stuff.
Right.
yeah, no, I mostly provided plants out of my own garden. I didn't charge for plants, but some of them did require quite a lot of dirt, you know, that added up.
Too bad that planting justice isn't up and going yet, because I bet they would want to maybe help us out in some way, right? Do you think, do you know that?
We could ask.
We could ask them, yeah.
But if you get them mostly planted, you know, you know, dig in and get those succulents and stuff,
It
you
should,
know, but it's a connection with the people too, you know, you don't just come in from and.
Can you get the Chamber of Commerce to smooth the thing?
Sure.
So we can just start planning?
Well, I would talk to Marie about, she would know, she has talked to the current manager. And she is the center of everything, so I would check with Marie.
okay.
All right,
Anybody else? Monica, did you have something to add or Beth or? You look like you're gonna do something.
They told me,
No, I was talking to Monica there.
yeah.
I just think that I was a little worried when we said we were gonna do the third Saturdays because just that we're gonna bite off more than we chew, you know, on the day because we already got people going everywhere and I don't know. So I got a little worried about that. I think if we do it, we have to kind of think it through, that's all. And also, there's these bulbs too that they fill with water and you can put them in the plants. We have them in one of our ones that the irrigation system can't reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I just think we should definitely look at these kinds of options because, you know, plants need water, so.
I must admit that theft becomes an issue with something like that. You know, these are pots that are. on the
Oh, right.
street, and while basically, things have been very positive, I have learned not to make them look too pretty right at the start, you know? And I was cautious about using succulents for a long time because I thought they'd get ripped off. You know, it's not horrible, it's definitely, not bad, but something like that. Something like the reservoir that you put in, that would be pretty attractive, and also the fact that sometimes people have already vandalized the watering system.
Okay.
So this, you know, from the jug into the pot.
All right, well, thanks, we'll continue the discussion on there and get together with Dorcas, take a tour of the downtown and see
I think
the lay of the land.
I think the tour is the big marketing tool that will get people enthused. We've got a lot of people who like gardening
Yeah,
and a lot of people who want to make our Sobrante look better, and this is a really positive thing to do, and there will be people who will prefer to do that than pick up litter.
yeah.
And so you'll be attracting a somewhat to answer Monica's thing. I think that there'll be people who would rather do that than pick up litter, and who might actually be attracted to come to the cleanup, the third Saturday cleanup and beautification
Yeah,
at the same time. So we should see.
yeah, and you know, spawners, they often spend their third Saturday gardening rather than actually cleaning up too, so. Maybe Yeah,
Maybe we should move on to.
yeah, let's get on with the.
Can I borrow your-
agenda, Sue?
It's going to.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, I have a second one.
Okay.
Can this, oh, I see. If I leave this, if I take this, can I project my
I
computer?
believe so. I think we can do it that way, but it's gonna,
But then,
it's gonna actually, take this.
no, hang on a minute, I'm gonna.
Okay. Next up would be Sue Joe.
Yeah.
Is
I
that-
did a little bit of research on the litter, on a big litter problem.
Good. Strategies to reduce.
Right.
Class.
So if I take this out, is that going to mess up these guys? Probably.
Right.
Okay, how do we want to project a slideshow? Because that's what I thought I was.
Could she make you a co-host? Could you join on the Zoom?
Let's see what happens. Has that switched them off?
Well, the TV, but,
It's still on his computer.
yeah, it's still on the computer, so.
See if I can get this to.
Oh, here we are.
Oh, cool.
It's showing to
It's very-
us here in the room, but everyone online, they won't be able to
Oh, they
see.
won't be able to
Turn
see
your
it.
camera.
What if you made her a co-host and she joined on Zoom? Would they be able to see that?
Russell, did you turn
Maybe
your-
I should just show you my computer screen.
It's up the screen.
What's that?
Well, I mean, it seems like if you
Just turn
were,
his camera around and there's a computer around, the screen picks up the camera.
This one? Turn this around, let's try that. Will that allow people at home to see?
Yeah, it's
How about like,
wonky, but that can work.
and then. Is that what?
can people see that? What do you think? Is that going to work, Ronnie?
It can work, yeah.
It's probably, I mean, it's not a great presentation, so.
Alright.
All right. So I went and did a little bit of research on the numbers and how big of a problem this was. And if anybody wants a slideshow, I put a QR code on it. So this was the number of items collected on beaches in one day, and by far the biggest one is cigarette butts. Is this something that we find with our litter cleanups as well? It's crazy when you think, there's not, it doesn't seem to be that many people still smoking, but there you go.
Numerically, there are, but it's in terms of quantity is.
So I think did you
Yes,
just turn
I
that?
just turned it and it messed up. Okay, let's try again. I love
Maybe
technology.
because you're not facing it?
No, I just got knocked out of the board.
We got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It should-
there.
Okay, great. All right. So this diagram here shows the most littered single-use plastic items in the United States. Plastic film is a massive problem. for non-food and food, like, you know, how they wrap up agricultural products, wrap up building products, all of that kind of thing. Anything that's shipped is wrapped in plastic. Plastic film from food is a huge problem. Polystyrene, expanded polystyrene we know about, and probably most people in this place universally loathe it. So this just gives you a sense of kind of where the plastic is coming from in terms of items. So how big is the plastic pollution problem? Marine plastic pollution has increased 10 times since 1980, affecting at least 267 animal species, including 86% of marine turtles, 44% of seabirds, and 43% of marine mammals. And I actually went to look at our very own Marine Mammal Center in Marin, where they rescue seals, and they have quite a few of the animals that they rescue are impacted by plastic. You know, they've got bits of fishing gear wrapped around them or whatever.
Your cable goes again.
Sorry. Yeah, it's a bit sticky, isn't it? Is it up? Nope.
There it goes.
There it is. So these are some fast facts I thought you'd be interested in. 33 billion pounds of plastic enter the marine environment every single year. 91% of plastic isn't recycled at all. And I think that this is a really important point, because I did a fair amount of research on, you know, recycling of plastic turns out to have been a bit of greenwashing to some extent, where people feel good about recycling all their plastic goods, but really the thing that really can get recycled are the plastic milk jug kinds of PET 1, but most of the other stuff is really difficult to recycle. And basically plastic can only degrade. So you can't make high quality goods out of recycled plastic. You can make, you know, lawn furniture or turf or something like that, but you can't upcycle it. It always just degrades. And there's some things which say that they're doing enhanced recycling. What they really mean is that they're using plastic as fuel and burning it. This is very bad for the environment, and it's not. It's a greenwashing.
Are water bottles recycled, really?
No, not really.
Not really.
I mean,
So we don't.
I mean, water bottles, as you saw, were a fairly significant problem. And considering we live in a place that has some of the best water in the country, we don't need to use bottled water. Plastic's a fossil fuel. The whole process of producing plastic is pretty toxic, maybe to the people working in the factory, right on down to the whole life cycle of plastic. There is some good news coming though. Do not panic. So the question is, what can we do? We all know, because we've done litter cleanups, the problem of litter, and we know about the marine problem and blah, blah, blah. We know that landfills are getting really full, and it's really expensive, frankly, to put things into landfill. It's $40 a cubic yard, which is like an average station wagon filled up with trash is at least $40 if you take it to the landfill. So we know that that side of it is a problem. So let's think a little bit more about what we can do in a practical way to reduce our own waste that we produce. And this I thought was just a nice little graphic, bringing cutlery and a bowl and a cup with you on your daily life in your bag, so that you don't have to get single-use items. Even the so-called compostable ones are just not that compostable. Buy less. Bring those net bags with you to the produce section, or just get loose produce and pick stuff that has pick stuff that has less packaging. You know, if you have an alternative, go with that. Buy secondhand, try fixing things. I bet most of us try to do that. Storing food without plastic. Glass is actually, even though it doesn't, glass is much easier to recycle, and you can recycle glass bottles into glass bottles. And it's much less toxic in the environment because it's basically melted sand. So Yeah, I mean, this is all stuff that I'm sure that you are all incredibly aware of. Oh, by the way, in your little kit, you might want to bring a little reusable straw with a cleaner because disgusting. So this is what goes where. I got this from Republic Services for what we can actually recycle. Aerosol cans, aluminium recycles really well and is something that is very energetically expensive. Aluminum is very energetically expensive to produce. So try to recycle metals. Cardboard recycles. I am surprised that they put plastic to go containers here. I'm surprised that they actually, what is that?
Travel straw set.
Oh, nice.
See, it comes in a case.
Oh, yeah, and it
It expands.
very cool.
And it comes
The
with a
travel
plastic cleaner.
That's so cool. I love it. It's like a perfect little stocking stuffer.
Yeah, I got some for friends too. Vermont Country Store.
Very nice. Thank you. Newspaper, glass bottles, and paper. Stuff that doesn't recycle well are going to be like polystyrene doesn't, those clamshell boxes. But like I said, there is some good news coming down the pike. Just if you just hang on for a second. This was supposed to disappear, but something went wrong with my thing. Let's escape from here. And so let's try disappearing this. Here we go. And this is a picture of the website that Chris mainly has been responsible for developing. This has an incredible number of incredibly helpful, important pieces of information that are very local, that relate to what we need to do right here. So instead of being confused about what to do with that old bed, don't dump it on San Pablo Dam Road. I'm just saying, because there's at least 3 of them, aren't they, way to Orinda now?
Washing machine over there.
No, don't dump your washing machine either. But this tells you what we can do and what our rates basically pay for. Now I should have had, was it this one? Let's try this. This should have disappeared, but it didn't. Let's try that again. So here, refuse single use wherever you can. I know that McDonald's is one of my secret little sins. It's delicious. And thankfully they have cardboard containers these days, but refusing single use wherever you can, having alternatives helps. Choose to reuse, recycle correctly. And I want to point out this crazy good news. There is a new law passed in 2022 that requires plastic makers to foot the bill for recycling and restrict single-use plastic in California. We have now, this is a landmark bill. It is leading the world. Yay, California. And it's worth writing to Newsom, actually, who really pushed this through, to say thank you, because leaders need to hear from people when they've done something right, so that they feel that they have the wind in their sails to keep doing that kind of thing.
So that says Litter-Free Virginia.
Yes, it is. I got this. This was an infographic from Virginia, but I checked the statistics and it was pretty decent.
We need a litter-free California.
Well, and there's a huge amount of energy behind doing that. I mean, there are many other problems in the world, as we know, but the research also says that working together with other people, with like-minded people, is a tremendous anxiety reducer, and it also helps people to take action on bigger issues. So climate change is linked with plastics use, but plastic production is only a relatively small part of the general carbon footprint of our society. So I think that is, this was a fab little video here, but I don't think this is where recycled plastic ends up. So I'm not going to play that right now because we've run out of time. But if anybody wants to see it, the Story of Stuff, by the way, is a fantastic resource, and think you might enjoy it. Okay, that's it for me.
We need to make our, can I get a brief actual comment?
Yeah.
One of the things that we can all do, for not only health, but the health of the planet, to reduce, methane is to cut down on our meat consumption.
Yes.
It's a big, I mean, I think that the meat and dairy production is higher than the transportation.
No, it's not. I
It's
just
not?
looked it up yesterday.
Did you look it up?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
The cost of one transatlantic flight will generally cancel out eating mainly plant-based diet for family. But it's still really substantial, the amount.
for animals, yeah, there are, I think it's 10 billion animals are used for food in the United States every year. So we can go plant-based in general, it's a lot less of all the shipping and processing. And then particularly with the meat and dairy, that methane production.
Right.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments for Sue?
You said something about it being a very small percentage of the environmental or climate change. But if our fishes are dying, if our fishes are dying and our oceans are dying, that's not a real small percent.
Well, it's not a small, I wasn't trying to minimize the importance of it. I'm just saying that in terms of carbon footprint.
Yeah, but it just amazes me that there's not a bigger carbon. I mean, everybody knows about that size of Texas garbage dump out in the ocean. I don't understand why there's not more attention on all of that.
There is a huge amount of attention on plastics, actually. And there really is a lot of people. There's lots and lots. As I was doing research for this, there's a huge amount of organizations that are very concerned about it. There's surfers, there's people all over the place that are just appalled by it. My point is not that it's not important. I'm just saying in terms of.
Oh, no, I didn't say you said that. It's just that it gets so forgotten that yes, we have this really problem with plastic, but it's killing the fish and people aren't aware that we're tainting our food source. If those of us that still even want to eat fish.
But that's also fossil fuels, right? I mean, plastics from fossil fuels, right?
It's all linked together. Yeah, I mean, plastics are made a fairly significant amount of fossil fuel use is to make plastics. And the plastics industry has a very vested interest in keeping us using plastics. And the pandemic was a time where it's like, oh, well, infection, we have to use more plastics for practically everything. So I mean, the problem with life in the seas is, it's hard to overstate how serious it is. And it's from a variety of reasons. There's warming of the seas, there's acidification of the seas, there's plastic pollution, there's trawling and overfishing. And you know, like when you used to go to Spenger's or those old fish restaurants, and there'd be these huge fish up on the walls, those do not exist anymore because we've fished out the biggest fish.
Was it in the room with you last week where somebody was saying that there were hatchery fish that got let out into the ocean and now they're polluting, they're like making all kinds of problems with wild fish. So here if I'm gonna buy fish, it's wild caught fish. Well, now they're being tainted too, and it just.
I mean, the tragedy of the seas is something that we don't see, where it's not in our face as wildfire smoke, but absolutely it's something I find sufficiently depressing that I find it quite difficult to engage with. Having said that, it's still worth going out whale watching, because even so, nature persists in the most glorious, amazing way. And just this last year, I've seen killer whales and the other ones that are around here.
humpback whales breaching, and so I mean, there still is plenty of life there, and life will survive. Will we? Bumper sticker. Anyway, we need to go on.
Thank you. Anybody else on Zoom have anything you want to add?
I was thinking that we might want to post some of these facts, pick some really good ones and put it on a whiteboard that we could sort of, portable one that we could bring to the third Saturdays to sort of remind people of just how a little, activity like picking up litter and the impact. And because I know now that when I pick up the litter, I'm real conscious of going for the plastic, and if I can, like the cigarette butts, might be very helpful. I'd like it.
That's great.
There's some infographics that I could easily print out, that are really impactful.
Yeah, we could do that, and we could also
We could validate them.
we could also put this on. We could put it on our website.
Right.
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 That would be a good thing.
Slideshow, we're printing it up.
Yeah, I want to see it again, actually, too. So let me give the QR.
I sent it to you.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't mean to take up too
Well,
much
thank
time.
you. That was great. Short and sweet. So next up on the, we're happy to welcome our first adult use cannabis dispensary to El Sobrante. That's also an art gallery, and so that I'd like to welcome Anima Mustafa to tell us some more about the artistry.
So we're still a baby company. We started out about 4 years ago in Los Angeles. We're partially owned by lawyers, partially owned by some potheads, right? I would say what I really enjoy about the artistry is that we like to work with our communities. So each of our locations are really big on volunteering, being a part of the community in terms of donations, giving back. Like this November, we're going to be doing a food drive for a local food bank here in Contra Costa. And I think it's really important, especially as someone that's from here in the Bay Area. I like to give back to the community that's given back to me, and I like to be a part of a company that wants to do the same thing. What's really cool though is that you don't really see art galleries and cannabis together. And I really can appreciate that not only do we work with local artists, and fun fact, our actual artist is from El Sobrante. So their art is in our dispensary right now. And it's really nice to not just have to buy cannabis. Usually when you go to a dispensary, you're kind of pressured to buy something, pressured to do something. But sometimes it's nice to just look at art. And I think in El Sobrante, I don't think we have any art galleries. So, but I feel like everyone in the Bay Area really has a big appreciation for art. And I would love to see us have I also see it on our list, murals and stuff like that. I've been asking if they would be interested in doing a mural on the side of our building. That would be a nice tribute to El Sobrante.
Do you own the building? Did the artistry buy it, or are you renting?
We are partnered. So we have a part owner who's out here, but we're subleasing the top of the building. But I'm really trying to convince them to turn one half of that a mural, because the side that doesn't have windows. So it would be nice
One
to
facing down road.
Yeah.
Driving down, it's a perfect place to.
Yeah, you don't see any of that out here. You see it in Richmond, you'll see murals in Richmond, but you don't see them out here. And El Sobrante is super green and super beautiful, and I think there needs to be more emphasis on this city. So I would love to be a part of that, genuinely. And we're also having a grand opening November 4th, which is Saturday. Even, just come by. You don't really have to buy anything, but we'll have some food, we'll have some artists displaying art as well. And a DJ there. But what's really cool is we've outsourced everyone who's actually from out here. So the food is an actual food vendor who could use more attention, so we're trying to work more with people who aren't just from franchises and stuff like that. So yeah.
Great.
It's our mission.
You know, I'm very excited, you know, not only as a cannabis consumer, but also as a, you know, somebody who lives here. I was excited to have, you know, the artistry come here. I thought that, you know, the model that you have as far as showing, featuring local art and wanting to be promoting art in the area. That would be one thing, is to put it on the side of your building, and if you wanna, another thing that you could partner with us in a way, to be a good neighbor is to also take care of the litter issues on, you know, surrounding your property.
Oh, yeah, I've been on my team about push brooming and actually putting it in the trash, not just push brooming.
Yeah. I don't know if you could go beyond that and like go across the street. That corner is always really bad where the billboard is, and the creek.
It's really bad.
If you want to adopt an area.
I know, it's like, oh, yeah, you see everything right across the
Yeah, if you
street.
wanna kind of like keep an eye on that whole, like just across the street too, you know, that would be incredible, you know. Way of giving back to the community.
Which would probably mean that it'd be good to have your staff have a mobile me app so that they can, but cause we've seen people dump stuff across the street, frankly, and that's the way it's reported.
Most citizens.
Excuse me, most of this level.
Is the city gonna do anything about that? Because I feel like that's been an ongoing issue from when we had that one, like, what was it? It was like a safe, where a place where people could use safely. I know that we had that happening out here in Sobrante, and I feel like ever since that, you see a severe issue in the creek. Like, you don't really see kids hanging out and smoking pot, like you see a lot of, just drug usage. You know what I mean? So I wasn't sure, is that something that's being talked about within the city?
Well, we already did, SOS on some of that, they're doing it.
Incorporated with the city, so we have to.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, please tell God bless. Yeah.
But you should know how to SOS. That they do.
Yeah, that's our work.
Yeah, can you speak to what you were just asking about?
Yeah, I mean, for specific cases, you can always reach out to me, and I think I still have some business cards with me. But it is something that we are aware of, and we're working with, you know, Public Works and different divisions within the county to address that unhoused individuals. That's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
But for specific cases, you can definitely reach out to me directly, and we can see how we can go ahead and.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Especially as winter's coming.
Yeah.
Getting it on to people who are unhoused and looking like they're not doing well is a real mercy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We're also trying to do like a clothing drive in December for like sweaters and scarves and stuff like that, because it gets really cold here. Particularly also Bronte.
You could get her card too, because she's the best electrician.
I'll give you my card.
Please.
And, you know,
Is that 211 or something? Is there like a hotline number that for when people have me, is that what?
Yeah.
No, that's four. Can I just clarify? So 211 is for coordinated outreach, referral, and engagement. If someone has a specific housing or food need, it's on a response basis. And that's a county, but they are really, really overtaxed, so sometimes they can't come out. And sometimes they call on safe organized spaces to help out. And then we have a neighbor care line that I'll give you, which is it's a 24-hour answer. If you can leave a message and someone will get back to you from our engagement team. And that is more for, there's folks living behind someplace. Can you reach out to them and see, do they have needs? if they shouldn't be there, can you help us relocate them?
Yeah.
Because we don't destroy their belongings, we actually help them move their belongings.
I love that. I think it's wrong to destroy
Yeah.
their evil little thing. that
Yeah,
they do.
people, I know, it's really, the things people have are important. Yeah, and 85% of our staff are hired from encampment, so it's a really peer-to-peer, you know, reaching out in an understanding way and making a real connection and trying to help, so. So I'll give you the number. Yeah.
Okay. So that's great. This is a great first thing. Do you know what you need to do to get a mural going on this side of the building? Is that something that we need permits for? If it's a property?
That would more than likely have to go through permitting and planning, so that would be a,
Like the building permit,
Yeah.
correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, they're not the nicest people.
So there was some people that did that nice mirror painting on the corner down there, they permit.
I believe so, yeah,
They have to get permits from the county and then from the city of Richmond.
yeah.
That one on Friendway, that one on Friendway is Richmond, only half of it, only half of it. But it was funded by the Love Your Block grant, but only half of it. Yeah, but that is only for Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't use that, in other words, because we're not, we don't have a Love Your Block grant. Yeah, but we could look for something in county.
Which is kind of shocked that you can't put a mural up on your own property with paint that you pay for yourself, really? You pay out permit?
I know, I'm like a little.
If it's not true, you need a private property, if the owners themselves are doing
I
it.
believe that is the process in regards to.
Like the businesses, right, in a.
Does it mean that I need a permit to paint my house a different color?
No.
See what I'm saying? I'm going with that.
No, I mean,
Because it's
there's
not
nuance, and I'm still learning, I'm only.
Right.
I've only been here for 2 months, I'm still learning, but that is my limited understanding would be. Like a census, yes.
Okay.
There might be things like they want to make sure. They want to make sure it doesn't distract drivers or have obscene, suggestive pictures.
I got away with the swastika in his front yard up there.
Yes, yeah, that was very kind of that so.
Man, you know, ironically, the part where our dispensary is, it's so accident prone, I'm not surprised.
Have you got some poles outside?
We're talking about that. I was even suggesting instead of using poles to use planners, like, but I would assume that we would need an okay from the county because it would be on the sidewalk.
Yeah, there's so much, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like that would be a nicer deterrent.
Yeah.
Than just pillars, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The big park planners are county though, right? They're not Richmond, they're county.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So if somebody doesn't want one, maybe it can, it doesn't matter.
It's true, I would ask Marie, the consideration is, and she will know, Marie will know how much space we need to leave.
And you
Because she was went through that with moving the other big parts. Already done.
need to look into the engineering of it and see if it actually would be a solution to take some of the edge off of somebody. I think that there certainly was recently on Nextdoor a thread about people who'd be driving incredibly missing around that corner. And I know that there was an accident.
There was just a hit and run like the other day, like 7.
Yeah,
18 in the
yeah,
morning.
so it sounds like maybe. Anyway, where are we on the agenda?
Okay.
I want to say one thing about the dispensary or the artistry is that it is different than any other dispensary I've ever been in. And it makes me feel very welcome. As opposed to, she greeted me on this side of the the counter, there was not glass between us. And it was just so engaging and you were just so, you were just so helpful. And it just was a totally different experience than any other dispensary, and I'm really glad that you're here.
It's beautiful.
I read that's the business in town.
Yeah, it is our nicest business.
The building looks great.
Yeah, they have.
I'm happy with what they did in comparison to the smoke shop that was there.
Oh, are you not gonna sell any of that time, Michael?
I hope you all will come to the grand opening, whether or not you are interested in cannabis. It's nice to see the art as well.
Yeah, be 21, right?
What's that?
21,
Yeah, you have to be 21 and older though.
So only art gallery, you have to be 21 years old.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, gotta see your ID.
Should we make you have a ribbon cutting?
Yes, I'm so excited. I was able to talk to Nicole from the Chamber of Commerce and we were able to facilitate a ribbon cutting ceremony, which will be at 1 p.m.
Okay.
November 4th. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
Yeah.
Are you thinking to ever expand to include coffee?
It's so cool.
I mean, it might be a little bit antithetical in terms of effect.
But it would be
Not
so.
The Dutch.
That's for the and things to play and have a cup of coffee and answer.
I agree. I fully agree. And there's like a section of upstairs that's not being utilized whatsoever. I would love for them to eventually. Upstairs. There's nothing going
I
on.
mean, a lot of us, which, and we're glad you don't put a tire shop in now, just saying.
I know what is with these, like, there's so many tire shops on it. Like, I see more horses than cars, so I'm confused, you know, like, we don't need that.
Really good, and the artistry does have an email list, so you can find out about all their specials and everything
Yeah, we have
as well.
a lot of stuff.
Give her your, I guess, how do you sign up for them?
Wait, so when you come in, the front desk associate should ask you if you wanna be a part of our
Oh,
email or
okay.
text messaging. And they can pretty much sign you up right there, and then you'll sign basically consenting that we can reach out to you via email or
Oh,
text.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Monica, I think has a question.
Monica.
I'm sorry if you already said this, but I can't hear everything. How do you guys choose the local artists?
So there is, on our website, there is an area where you can submit. And we like to include location of where that person's from or where that person lives. And we were able to find an artist that was actually from El Sobrante. I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but we're trying to make sure that we're working with people who are from the area. That way we're representing the community that we're actually in and not just a bunch of LA artists.
Yeah, we have a significant artist population here, I think, in Sobrante. In fact, Triangle Works is comprised of a lot of artists, right? And they're trying to make an artist section of town down at the other end of the Avenue Way.
I love that.
Yeah, so, well, hopefully people will learn after your grand opening, people will know more about you and want to engage with the artistry, and we thank you for coming tonight and for being part of that. Any other questions or? Okay, so it is getting late, so let's just go over a couple of these things really quickly. They removed all the trash cans downtown, and I was hoping Nicole would be here who could give us some enlightenment about what the situation is. I think, do you know what the situation is with the trash cans? Are we gonna get more trash cans?
So the notice from Public Works was once they're out indefinitely. I did send out a notice to Tom and Nicole about looking into a company called Big Belly. I know my work in downtown Richmond They utilize big belly trash receptacles. And that seemed to work fine for downtown Richmond and keeping the trash somewhat off the streets. And so that's an option. Republic Services, I don't think would be a viable option. But Big Belly, I think would be a really good resource. But I think in Richmond, and also I see them up and down Solano Avenue as well. So.
Big Belly, I know this from Parks.
Mhm.
The Big Belly is basically a trash compactor that works on solar power.
Mhm.
So they don't have to be emptied as often because they compact it. They can hold roughly 3 times as much as a normal trash can. But the problem that we encountered sometimes was that homeless people steal the solar panels
Yeah.
because they want the power.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would happen, that would happen here.
Well, I also called and wrote from the website to AC Transit to see if they could take any responsibility. It seems like we just need it by the bus stops. If we just had some trash cans by the bus stops anyway, when people are waiting and eating before they get on and throw their stuff away. Because those are usually pretty messy around there. I didn't hear any response from them, so I couldn't get through, and I don't even know where to look at this point or who to call.
Well, yeah, Marie, from the chamber was I think instrumental in getting them removed because they never got emptied, then they were all broken, she said.
Right.
He said Republic Services told her that if you don't have trash cans, people don't dump their trash. I'm like, what? I don't think so.
I kind of have mixed feelings about that because I've noticed that it doesn't look, is that bad downtown? I mean, it doesn't look that bad.
I always say, yeah, leave no trace, and then I've been to festivals where they didn't, and
Okay, well, I think it's still a good idea, especially like near the high school.
Yeah.
It'd be good to have one down there, by their bus stop. And by the way, we are excited that I think we might have a little group of students from their climate club that joined us at the last at our last cleanup, so we're hoping that they'll engage with us on a regular basis, and because Deanza High is usually not very good around there and gets messy around the bus stop, so.
Yeah, she meant the answer.
What's that?
The answer.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that we can engage with them and let's pursue this. We need to get some more answers about how to get that near at least at the bus stops. I think that would be one place we could. And I don't know if AC Transit or who, but I'll try to follow up on some of that and see if we can get some answers. Okay. Number 6 on the agenda was signs, banners, flags. That was just an idea of how could we get, and I know that Supervisor Joya at one point said that there is some funding available for like, some town has a big rock that welcomes you with their rock, but I don't know that we need a rock. It'd be nice to have some welcomes, Sobrante sign or banners that we could put on flags down the road that might have some inspirational messages on it, like litter free El Sobrante or something. I don't know if we'd want, but that could be an art or beautification kind of project.
Oakland has bumper stickers that say littering is a dirty habit.
I did see something on the back of one of the buses, so we just need more PSAs out there, public service announcements that will, start to raise the consciousness, so let's think in those terms and.
Helen was the one that started the idea of the flags and banners and stuff. So we could pick her brain to see if there's any
money, and also John Joyner, I think, you know, like he said, he did say there was some budget for like a welcome thing.
And I have.
And he said something about a rock, that, I don't know, is it Pinole or some other, San Pablo, one of the towns has a big rock that welcomes you. And, you know, like, he made it sound like there was some funding available, but we need to figure out what it is that we want.
I think that a good idea would be to get some people to submit some ideas, like draw some, draw something up and submit it as ideas. Maybe we can even make it into a contest or some sort of fun project.
Yeah,
To engage the community.
yeah, that would be, I think, a great thing to do, is to engage, maybe get local artists to design them, or students, or
Yeah.
or something, you know, to engage and build community again, which is the ultimate goal. And what we want to do is that the more people engage with their community, the more they care about it, the more they want to keep it clean and beautiful. So,
We were also, one of the things we were talking about in terms of signage, it was related to HALA, was getting the little campaign signs.
Yes.
Print it up with like,
Oh,
keep it clean or whatever, because she said she had the stands, was expensive, and she said, she had some stands. So we
yeah.
could get- So then printing the signs is inexpensive, hopefully, on paper, but they have the plastic ones, it's easier to work with, I know, but we were just thinking something like, something, a message about don't litter, please don't litter, and just wherever the people are littering, stick it there, so that the people who are, where the places where the action is, that they're the ones who get that message, and then, like, moving them around from place to place, depending upon if there's a problem, like around the high schools, for example, something like that gets bad. Whatever place we're seeing a problem, an uptick in littering, that's where you put the sign, not don't litter.
Even more effective are signs that imply that you're not doing quite as well as your other school, like. Pinole looks better than Kansas. There are different ways of phrasing ads which are more or less effective, and I think it would be worth looking into that. I'm also very excited. I'm excited about bumper stickers. What can we say? But like stuff that will say something like avoid single use plastics, or stuff like that. So, something that would be catchier than that. That people could in El Sobrante could use. There's the magnetic things that you can make that don't destroy your car, and that you can take off when you go to other areas of the state. You know what I mean?
I wish we could. I at one point looked into that the billboard that's across the street from the artistry.
Right.
See how much those cost to get messages. And they're kind of pricey for a month, I think it's
Pricey, and they just get.
1,500 or something. What's that?
Yeah, they're pricey, and they just, right in that specific area, they always end up getting vandalized.
Why would you take that much trouble?
I feel like there's nothing better to do, like mind boggling.
Okay. I think it's partly the challenge too. That's why you see tagging on freeway overpasses and stuff like that. It's because it's hard to get to.
Boxcars and trains.
Yeah, and then it would be hard to clean it up too.
Right, I was at university in Oakland, they had a 3-story or 4-story building with a mural all the way up, and somebody wrote their name up and down the whole 3 stories. Just to make it, and then they couldn't repair it because it was just.
Like, how does one even do that?
Yes, it's approving you like 8 stories. No, they didn't know that.
Usually they respect the other artists.
But you can't count it.
Yeah, anymore. Okay, well, when the artistry gets to the point where they're looking at a mural, it'd be nice. It'd be interesting to see what you're thinking about anyway. Next, anybody else have anything to say about this, or should we just wrap this meeting? Maybe
I would say, on the mural thing is it's like if we have crews that are going around wiping out graffiti, why not wipe it out, use colors and make a pattern or something like that, do a big, just add some color and art looking stuff to town, so while we're doing that, We just saying, that's our.
There is an El Sobrante muralist. I Googled it and something came up.
But it's hard to get a permit for a mural, but if you're like already painting over the graffiti, just do it artistically. You know?
Well, actually, I'm trying to organize a video for the cheese at the Moon Park. Because, yeah, that gets faded and gets cracked and, you know, it sometimes gets graffiti. But it's hard to organize because of the weather lately. If it's too hot, we don't want to be out there painting. And if it's gonna rain in a few days, then you can't paint because it can't dry in time. So I think at this point, I'm gonna have to put it off for the spring. That's something small might help you, you like. Before you close.
Yeah.
The road is ready, close, I'm told.
Yeah, no problem.
Where you wanna put it? I wanted to provide a 1 minute update from O'Neill
Okay.
about Third Sundays and SOS. Should I do that now? Third Saturdays. So, SOS will have a team here on an ongoing basis on third Saturdays. And we'll focus mostly on encampments. However, O'Neill said, call him if there are other areas they're open to whatever needs to be done. And he probably won't come to the meetings. I'll try to come. But just know that we're available and you just need to call on us. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I spoke to O'Neill and he did tell me that too,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
they want to concentrate on the encampment. He asked me, what do we need for third Saturdays from SOS?
Yeah.
And I said, you know, it's always good to have them clean up the encampment areas and the area in front of those encampments. That's the public properties as well,
Yeah.
along the streets and if we do have something extra that we need from them, they do have their trailer available and they'll go around if we call them up on a third Saturday to pick something up for us. So we really appreciate that, love our partnership with SOS. And feel like, you know, it's nice to see that you're an asset to our community as well, so thank you for that. And thank you, Neil, and the team that they have doing all that stuff. And Terry, what did you want to?
I ran into two different groups in the last month that want community service time with us.
Oh.
So one is a Boy Scout Troop 146. The other one is called Contra Costa Youth Service Bureau. And they want to be put on our agendas and to be called upon to do work with us, and they need it written off, so it needs to be the nonprofit.
It needs, and we're not.
But we can get it signed off. I forget who could do it.
Our citizens
For Greener elsewhere.
For Greener Community.
Yes.
Is our fiscal sponsor.
Yes. And they're a nonprofit, so we've been through this once and we've already gotten permission that it's okay to do this. So,
okay, yeah, that's great.
Several people that are.
Yeah, the Boy Scouts is nice.
They call you.
So is this for this community service is part of like getting a badge or something like that?
They just needed hours. They needed community service
That's great.
hours. Sue wants to know what the other group was.
Contra Costa Youth, yeah. Yeah. That's great, yeah, we want to approach litter not as punishment, but as a
That's why
community benefit.
That's why both these groups think, I thought they were encouraging because they had that sort of, they wanted to help with the community.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Not as a punishment, but as.
Not being right.
Yeah, very good.
Although if we had a way of getting court ordered community service to do some stuff, that wouldn't be so bad either.
That wouldn't be so bad either.
I would go for it.
Ryan,
What's
you
that,
got
Monica?
or something like that.
Oh, No,
Yeah,
I mean,
probably don't have
people who
that.
want to help, even if they're doing community service, it would be great. I don't know. I'm at that point.
we'll
Could I
take it.
say one thing, Mickey?
Yes, yeah.
I want to go back to the other discussion about the garbage cans. So we tell the high school students don't litter, and then they have nowhere to put the litter. I mean, you know, it seems like that's a little frustrating. So I agree and totally support your idea of strategic garbage cans. You know, we don't need a lot of them. We just need them in certain areas. And I just, because we can't tell people don't litter and then we don't give them anywhere to put the stuff. It's going to be sort of futile.
Well, that makes me think that maybe we should, it seems almost impossible to get a hold of a principal or anything like that. With the schools, and it'd be nice to get them involved to provide a garbage.
Well, if they could
can.
put the garbage can out, you know, that would be just ideal.
Yeah, I don't know how that whole thing works with the, if we can get garbage cans, because then who's responsible for emptying them?
That's the big.
That's the problem. That's the problem with the downtown too.
I'm gonna be reaching out to Bianca about their climate club, and that will involve having to go through the principal. And I'm also going to be reaching out. Yeah, anyway,
You know, Maggie has a contact for one of the students in the club. I think.
yeah, but I want to go through the admin.
Oh,
to
yeah.
get there. So I think I can probably figure that out. I
Yeah.
just keep getting, I don't know, dealing with the schools is weird.
It's
difficult.
frustrating. It's like
Yeah.
it's almost impossible.
It's quite difficult, so I'll keep this.
How to get through that.
I didn't think that they would want to give the kids something to do.
Is still a requirement for a certain number of volunteers?
Yeah, and I've got a high school student who's going to be hopefully helping with the homework club, and she wants hours. But you have to be a little careful, because having a kid who wants hours is different to having somebody who really wants to do whatever it is that we'd like them to do.
When they do these volunteer hours, is it specifically for a nonprofit?
I don't know.
Can they do work for the school district?
I don't know.
Cleaning up
I
their
can
school?
find out a bit more about it.
Well, that would be idea. That is
Wondering.
yeah, getting the students to just take responsibility for their schools and their property near their school.
Well, is there a way we can find out if that counts towards volunteer hours?
You know,
I'm going to find out about
yeah.
community hours.
Let's find out.
Okay, for those and other things, and I
I'm
will
interested.
a little about including it on my to-do list.
Are there any, it seems like that's a wonderful work for us to utilize. Should be.
I
Well,
totally.
and I also think the other big advantage is it's nice to have the whole integration in the community. I like working with young people. It's good for young people to see other elders, not just their own grandparents. And I think that's probably good.
A lot of student volunteers sort of need to do the soup kitchen and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think they had a good time too.
I'm sure they did.
I hope they did a good reflect that volunteer work.
Right,
Is to do it in adult it's
right.
That's great. So, before we wrap up, are there any, you know, this is kind of an irregular meeting that we don't follow them on this, you know, schedule or anything, but for the next time, are there some topics that you think that we should put on a meeting that we'd like to talk about, or?
So I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
And since I'm suggesting it, I'll probably be the one on the committee.
Yeah.
But maybe me and somebody else could go and talk to a couple of the business, go down San Pablo Avenue, San Pablo Dam Road rather, talk to some of the businesses, try to see if we can get them a little bit more engaged, especially now that we're such a presence in downtown. You know, when you and I first started it, you know how much apathy we got, but lately, all I keep hearing is praise about the green team, so I don't know if that's coming from the businesses, but if it is, maybe now's the time to try to talk to them again and get them just a little bit more engaged, because I don't see any reason why they can't just commit to their own little space.
Right now, I drive
That's the part I like to
see all that stuff there, I just wanna get out my weed or.
Yeah.
And some do it naturally, and some, if you suggest it, they act like you're asking them to.
that the city should do it, yeah, you know.
But we don't have cities.
No.
Yeah,
You know, like
nobody
it's
saying,
the truth of it, right? Like we have to accept what we're given.
the truth is that nobody picks up the litter unless we do it. Or a business or there, people take responsibility, there's no entity out there that's just picking up litter and. One of my pet peeves is like the litter along San Paulo Dam Road between, by the reservoir. How messy that is all the time, and I wish the county somehow or another could send a crew or give us a time where they would protect us for the green team to go out. I know green team people would do that.
I
if we
have
had
done that.
protection.
I have done that without protection. Ooh, sounds like I'm having sex. I'm just saying, but it's still reasonably satisfying in a weird way.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's a wide shoulder, it's not that dangerous.
yeah, but they didn't want us to do that, but they made it sound like they need the sheriff or the CHP
They should
to put the orange cones and have somebody out there for a period of time, and that costs a lot of money.
We just pulled over onto the wide shoulder and then ran around up and down the ditches. So,
Okay, but
seeing all sorts of.
I don't know how we can do that, but maybe we can contact the county or, see what can be done.
But there's some
with
pretty
that.
big dumps and some pullouts.
Oh,
There's
that's horrible.
appliances and mattresses and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would think that it would be a good thing for the county to just do a regular every 3 weeks, go up and down San Pablo Dam Road, because it's really difficult to stop, take a picture and report it.
Yeah.
It would also be nice if they checked in on the creek, because people are always throwing I saw a wheelchair the other day.
Yeah. We
Random
saw
items.
by Davila way, we saw what did we see for?
For what?
Davila way down there were a couple of appliances.
Yeah, there's a stove and a washing machine, I thought we had got taken care of back on cleanup day. So maybe we need to do
I
another.
don't know, is that something
I thought we'd done
that SOS could help with pulling out some appliances? I don't know.
I can ask, I'll ask.
It's like, no, it's not by the road, it's way down by the creek, down Brazil.
Depends on how many people.
How much work they put in it, right?
No, seriously, like, that's so much work to do.
Yeah, I'll check.
And there were two lawn chairs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In a different area. And the
Lawn
appliances
chairs.
were really big. They were big. And they were in the creek.
Washer and a stove.
Oh, right.
That's insane.
Well, if it's in the creek, is that environmental health?
Yeah.
I think it might be environmental.
Is that
Yeah, is there-
an agency, environmental health?
That's a question, I would have to reach out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there is an environmental health.
If it's actually blocking the creek, if it's actually in the creek and might block the flow, the watershed people might be interested too.
Who?
Watershed,
Oh,
they
yeah.
used it in clearing the path to the sea
Yeah.
for the creeks.
Yeah.
I think that Monica had contacted Spawners about it, she said, contact Mitchell about it. And he's connected with the watershed project, so. We
How
can.
much does it cost to dump an appliance?
You mean the dump off?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, to officially.
We really need some vouchers,
We need vouchers for people
people who are doing this volunteer work. Not having to incur their own money.
Yeah.
To keep our area clean, That's something that would be a good thing to get. Maybe we can get sponsored.
Ramon talking about trying to raise some money, I don't know.
Maybe we can get sponsored for vouchers. We always say that, but
Yeah, but also Bradley.
It's coming on for 9.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for coming and
This was very interesting.
yeah, appreciate it.